Heyo, what's going on, beautiful people and all my cool creatives? I'm your host, D, aka D Brady, and I'm a creative brand strategist who also dabbles in PR. About a few months ago, I tightened it down to brand partnerships, but this is my podcast, Liquid Era, as I guide my fellow out of the box millennial creatives to finding their personal brands, footprints in their careers, and being successful, but in the dopest way possible. All right. So, yeah, although I'm giving tips, advice to the entertainment industry underdogs and experimenting new and dope branding and marketing tools and all that good stuff, I'm opening about my personal journey and my growth as well, because I'm not perfect, which we're actually going to talk about in this episode right here. So, let's get right to it. So, first of all, I am not only recording this podcast as an audio, but I'm also recording this as a video to put on the Liquid Hours YouTube page. So, like I said before in the previous episode, there's another Liquid Hour page on YouTube, but they're like totally different from me. But if you like to search, you'll see Liquid Hours Avi, and yeah, subscribe. Definitely subscribe now. Also, if you're watching the video, I am rocking my God is Dope Mamba hoodie. Okay, so shout out to God is Dope, sponsor me. And rest in peace to Gigi and Kobe Bryant. May God bless the Bryant family. And yeah, let's continue on to this episode. As you guys can see, the title is Lack of Transparency. So today, I want to talk about the lack of transparency within these industries. I know we are all flawed, but I think a lot of us now on social media feel pressure to have to know the answers to everything in order to be that expert. There's a lot of pointing at tips on TikTok and on Reels in order to be that expert. And that's the most transparency I might see. The only other transparency that I might see as well is like, if somebody was to talk in an interview about their hustle, pretty much, maybe you were sleeping on the couch for a couple years or so, and then you went here to boom, and you believed in yourself, and that's pretty much it, right? But nobody has the time, obviously, when you're doing the hustle, you're doing the work. Nobody has the time to really showcase, not everybody, but really showcase their hustle and their grind and that transparency that we would like to see. And a lot of people like to see the details of it and want to know every single thing. Like, okay, but on the days that you wasn't feeling good, how did you get out of bed? On the days that, like you couldn't get into the door, who did you talk to? What did you talk about? Those type of things. So if you also are on Liquid Hours IG page, I posted a video of me talking to Emery Vegas Jones when I had just entered, well, not just, but I was like a year or so into the label that I used to work for, and I was so lost. And you guys can actually see and hear him giving me advice on actually, which is a full circle moment that I spoke about in my last podcast, about branding. And how funny is it that I'm a creative brand strategist now and I deal with brand partnerships? Yeah. Awesome. So, to be honest with y'all, when I record podcasts, I do not listen back to them. So if I repeat myself, I'm sorry. But since I repeated, that means since I repeated it, that means I meant that shit. So, oh well. And also for the guys, for the people who's watching the video, if you see me looking away from the camera and not looking exactly at y'all, it's because I definitely have my notes down for every podcast episode. And I'm going to record, actually, maybe do a TikTok or a reel on how I actually do my podcast setup because it's actually pretty ghetto, but you got to work with what you got to work with. Okay. So, yeah, I'll definitely be transparent about that. But like I said before, I probably mentioned this, but I spoke on imposter syndrome, and I realized that a lot of great creatives behind the scenes have that imposter syndrome. And it sucks because there are so many gurus on Dionne Warwick's internet claiming to know what they're talking about with the whole chest, and it's either absolutely wrong or it's actually right, but they regurgitated that information and they're completely living a whole lie behind the scenes. So y'all seen that with that Jackson dude and his wife, and who's a whole relationship guru and he was cheating and shit, like that type of shit I'm talking about. So I'd rather be transparent about my flaws and forever being a student and learning than to seem like an expert and be totally full of shit. So, like I said, I am a creative brand strategist and I do work in doing brand partnerships and those type of things. But I do make mistakes. I'm still learning. And so we're gonna get right into it. All right. So I'm gonna break down the things that I know that I need to work on. And then I'm gonna talk about each and every one of them. And then yeah, continue. So first of all, this isn't tearing myself apart or beating myself up. This is just me being real about what I can work on so that I can better improve, so that I can share with other people in order to not repeat the same mistakes that I am doing or have done. So, yeah, I feel like social media makes you feel like you have to have everything right. You have to be perfect. You know, you have to know what the fuck you're talking about all the time, especially if you are the face of a brand, because if not, automatically someone is going to pull your card and now you're suddenly not who you say you are. And just because you may be wrong about a fact or you don't know everything about a subject, that does not mean you are not who you say. That does not mean sorry. That does not mean you are not who you say you are. That does not mean you cannot be the great person that God intended you to be. Okay. You're just still learning, and that's okay. So, one of the things that I know that I have to work on is my tone, my attitude. And some people that know me or may think they know me or whatever, or maybe have interacted with me before, they would be like, yup, Denise. Yup, D. Yup, your attitude, your tone is it gets greasy sometimes. And before I used to say, and sometimes I still kind of go off of this, but I go off of the energy that I'm giving. So that I'm given. So if I meet someone and they say, "Oh, hey, what's up?" and they're super nice at first to me, then I'm going to be super nice because I just want to get to know you. You know, we know each other. We might click, we might not, the vibes, the energy might be off, or it is, you know? But maybe if I do meet someone and the energy is off, but we can still be cordial and we can work together, that's even better, right? But then you have people who are that quote unquote nice nasty. And when I say nice nasty, it's like in front of your face or whatever, or when you have a meeting or something or whatever. It's super nice. It's super professional or whatever like that. But then when you are not in front of their face or away from them, it's a whole nother story. They talking about you. They got this and that about you. They're not really happy with what you're doing. They picking apart everything. And every mistake that you do is like a catastrophe, right? So me actually getting into the industry, especially when I first got into the label, I was just being myself. And I always said that I always wanted to be in an industry. I wanted to always be into something that I can totally be myself. I do not want to fake it. I do not I cannot fake it because it's already going to be all of my face. My old boss used to tell me this all the time. Like, I can already see how you feel on your face. And so I know that in every situation, sometimes you are gonna have to just put a smile on your face and just later on be like, you know, that bitch, like, But I feel like there are times where it's not necessary to be like that. There are times where you don't have to be nice, nasty. You can have a real conversation and still be respectful. You know what I'm saying? And I had to find that borderline, not gray area, but how to be assertive without being bitchy or coming off as rude or anything like that to anyone. Because me also being born in New York, we just automatically can sound like the females in New York, we automatically can sound kind of aggressive. We talk fast, those type of things. So it could come off like, oh, she's mean, she's rude. But for me, I'm just trying to get to the point and just be real and honest. And I understand that not everyone is going to accept how you speak and how you are just because. And you can't just have the excuse of, well, that's just how I am. No, it can't be that way. So what I started to do was really think before I speak and actually try to be like, okay, if I was this person talking to me and they said what I said to them, how would I react? Like how would I want somebody to treat me? So I feel like, okay, as long as you go in cool yourself, then it's fine, and you're just not like automatically attitude-ish. Before I feel comfortable with somebody, let me figure them out first. Let me see if they would be cool with me showing my energetic self and my attitude that I don't really, it's not really an attitude, but it's a joke. Like, let me just fill them out before I go ahead and totally be me. And then I can go in and, but read the room pretty much. But that's how I'm working on my tone and my attitude. And also how I'm working on my tone and my attitude is even when I know that somebody is being nice, nasty, right? Or that I know somebody is just straight up being a bitch or whatever. I'm going to think about the situation and I'm going to be like, okay, how can I respond to this to where it's not going to bite me in the ass later on, but can still let them know, like, okay, I'm not the one or the two. So it's going to have to be on some per my last email type of energy. So I'm trying to right now I'm still trying to find that medium of, okay, like I'm not cussing you out, but I just want to find a common ground. So what I might do is actually, if I have a disagreement about something, I'll come with a solution. Like, all right, I'm not I don't like this, but I can see if we do this instead. You know what I'm saying? Like a 50-50 type of way. And if that person still is just like acting out because they just don't like you or something like that, then to hell with them. And we don't have to ever speak again, shawty. Because yeah, some people are just out of control. But if I'm under control and not letting somebody else's ignorance cause me to act ignorant, then I'm okay. I'm all good because I have myself under control and my peace. So yeah, I'm just still trying to figure that out, guys, because I do have a big attitude and my tone can get crazy sometimes. But even with my friends, um, the way how I express my gratitude or like love to them, or it's just me joking around in that type of way. And sometimes my tone can come off kind of rude. So yeah, I just have to nip that in the bud a little bit for some people because it's not going to work for everybody. Also, another thing that I have to work on is my time management. Oh my gosh. So, this was another thing that was an issue at my previous job at the label as well, was my time management. And even though there was like sometimes I would have to be late. Like sometimes I really was late just because of the freaking traffic. So like sometimes you leave extra early and you still get into it. So you still get into like an accident or like something going on, you still be late. You be like, damn, like the devil did not want me to be great today. And it's just so hard. But I am working on that. And I actually loud like now when I go to like a function with my friends or whatever, and I have to drive like maybe an hour or so, I'll go ahead and like look at my GPS and be like, okay, it'll take me about this amount of time to get there. So if I actually leave at 4 o'clock, I'm gonna get there by like 6. And the thing don't start till like 6:37. So I'll be Gucci. I'll be mad good. Like that's how I'm doing things now. Also, I am tracking my time with my planner. So I have two books. I have a bigger book that I write all my notes down in and an actual planner. And I will write down what I have to do during the day. And then I would pretty much like, if I'm thinking about it at that time, I'll put the time down that I spent doing that job. And my current boss, Janae, she actually told me to do that one time because I was like, I'm really trying to balance out this podcast and actually working and doing all this type of stuff. And she told me to do that. So I definitely was like, all right, let me go ahead and write down my time. And when you actually do that, you can see how much time that you would take a break and actually watch your TV, or how much time you're spending on social media. How much time that you're actually doing to work. And then I realized, like, actually I can do some of these things that I have on my planner within the 2 to 4 hour time frame. And then I can have the rest of the day to maybe plan out things for Liquid Era, record something for Liquid Era, and just knock it out the park. I'm still learning that, y'all. Like, honestly, sometimes when I get emails, I can get so overwhelmed because I'm pitching to multiple people throughout the day. I'm having different conversations. And a lot of times I also have to break down and spoon feed some of these people. So I get kind of overwhelmed. I'll be like, I'm going to step away from the computer. And it ends up being like an hour or two that I step away from the computer when it's supposed to be only like 15 minutes. And so then it turns into, you know what? I have time tomorrow. I can actually solidify that. And then it's like, no, girl, you got to respond back to them today, because then you can lock shit in today and you got to worry about it tomorrow. So, what I'm also doing is giving myself a gift or a prize when I get my work done in a specific amount of time and manner. So, what I would do would be like, all right, if I get my work done by, let's say, 5 o'clock, I can go ahead and watch that new show that I was looking at on Netflix and binge watch it for the rest of the night. And also text your little boo thing or whatever like that, girl. Like, your phone ain't got to be on do not disturb. Like, that's how I treat myself, honestly. The next thing that I need to work on is promoting myself, getting out of that imposter syndrome mindset. So, even though I have this podcast, which is also almost to 1,000 downloads, y'all. So, y'all go ahead and download. Y'all also like share and comment, subscribe, because I'm super excited. But yeah, so even though I will have in my Liquid Era IG page and I will post content on Liquid Era IG page, I have not really posted a lot on my personal IG page because, to be honest, I feel like I care about what other people think a lot of time. And it's like, I know that once I put something out, people's gonna love it, and then that's gonna put pressure on me to be consistent. And I am not that consistent. That's why I gave myself the schedule of posting a podcast episode every other Monday so I can build up my consistency. That goes again with time management. But yeah, so I have an issue with really promoting myself and putting myself out there because I don't want people to think like I'm a whole guru, I'm a whole expert. Like, I make mistakes. I don't have all the answers. Like, I'm not perfect. And I think I have this trauma actually from like me growing up with my dad. He's very much so like, get it right, get it right, get it right. Um and perfect, that I feel like I have this thing about being perfect. Even like, okay, I'm recording right now for the YouTube, right? My background is not what I want it to be or envision it to be at all. But I'm working with what I have because I'm getting out of that mind frame of, okay, everything doesn't have to be perfect. Um and I can just still go ahead and promote myself, right? That's also getting out of my imposter syndrome mindset. Me working with a lot of other professionals and actually seeing the behind the scenes of how professionals do things, there's a method to their madness. It's really madness. Like, nobody has this perfect aesthetic behind the scenes as they do on social media. Like, they all have their flaws, but they're not showing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I figured for this podcast and for this platform and what I'm doing, and to also make my future clients more comfortable coming to me is showing that I'm not perfect. I have flaws. Okay. And if you think that I know all the answers, I do not. But I know things from my experience. And I think you guys watching my experience will have you more so comfortable asking me questions and actually feeling comfortable with me going ahead and helping you and guiding you, like I said, I'm doing for millennials, my creative millennials. So that's how I feel about it. And also, like I said before, there's a whole bunch of people out here on this internet that will go ahead and be like, oh, yeah, here's some tips on blase, and you shouldn't be doing that, and you should be doing this, and you shouldn't be doing that, and pointing their finger at everybody else and criticizing. But behind the scenes, you doing the same thing, if not worse, contradicting yourself. Like nobody's perfect, especially in 2021, 2020. We saw a lot of shit get exposed, right? And we realized like this person is not who they say they are or claim to be. So you might as well just go ahead and do that shit. So for me, for this podcast, I'm like, Denise, you might as well just do that shit. You might as well just do that shit, and just whoever gravitates to it. Whoever don't, they just don't. So that's what I'm working on. Another thing that I'm working on is going with my first gut instinct. So trusting myself, I guess that's what it would mostly be. I feel like I get these feelings. Obviously, women, we have our gut instincts, we have our intuition about many different things, whether it's a job, whether it's relationships, friendships. And a lot of times we second guess it, we overthink. I am an overthinker. I love Google because it is free. And I am the type of person who will go on Google and will definitely, I'm the type to go on Google and will be, and definitely will research everything. I want to know. I want to know what it is, what the answer is today. If I'm coughing, I want to know if I got COVID. If I'm sneezing, I want to know if I got the flu. If I'm dizzy, I want to know if I'm anemic. Everything, right? But when it comes to more so of things that you can't really find the answer to, right? Like if a job is really for you, or if that person is really for you, you'll have a feeling if you should do it or not, if you should really pursue it. And I feel like us women, we will go ahead and come up with so many excuses because our heart wants something while our mind doesn't. And our gut instinct is telling us exactly what it is. And you'll also have fine hints, right? You can, look, I'll pray to God sometimes and I'll be like, look, if this is for me, I know you're going to show me that it's for me. If it's not, you're going to also show me that it's not for me. And literally, I'll probably have a dream that night. I'm not even trying to sound spooky or no shit like that, but I'll probably either have a dream that night about something that's giving me hints, or now I'll go on Twitter and somebody will say something and I'll be like, oh shit. Then maybe my friends or somebody will come tell me something. I'll be like, oh shit. Like, and it's just like, okay, there goes your answer, Denise. Go. You already knew what it was because your gut instinct told you. So that's how it is also for Liquid Era. I had Liquid Era, like I said this before, but in like the first beginning, I had Liquid Era on my mind since college days. I came up with this since college, but I couldn't wrap my finger around on what it would be, right? And I had this gut instinct that, okay, Denise, but you do have to use your voice or at least be on YouTube or something. And in my mind and in my gut, I knew that this is where I'm supposed to be and using my voice, but I'm overthinking it. I need a fucking photo shoot. I need a perfect camera. I need this and that instead of using what the hell that I have already. And to be honest, now after going through everything that I already shared that I went through in 2020 and 2019, I'm starting to really feel like just use what the hell you have. You have a ring light, you have a MacBook, you have a desk, you have a microphone. use what the hell you have, girl. You got an iPhone, make it work, and people, and as you go on, elevate and make people see you elevate. And so that's what I'm doing right now, and that's what I'm working on, y'all. Literally, literally, I am just going with the flow, going with my gut instinct right now, and just continue to push and push. And you guys are being a witness to that. So, again, I thank y'all for bearing with me because your girl is just winging it right now and just speaking from my heart. And I appreciate you guys for allowing me to be transparent in this journey and being transparent about what the fuck I need to work on. So, the other day, I saw a tweet from someone going around, and he said something along the lines of, if you put RE semicolon, obviously I know what that is, in your email subject line to make it seem like we've been in a conversation, I'm not going to respond to your email. I'm going to delete it. And a lot of people were commenting or quoting on it saying, oh my God, people do that? Had no idea this was a thing. Or, oh wow, I thought it meant something else, et cetera, right? And I got turned off from it because from someone who, hey, to be honest, I've done that before, and and it did work. It does work and it clearly did work for him because he opened that goddamn email in order to delete it. But also, B, I had to learn and experience doing that when I was younger because I didn't have a stable mentor, obviously. So now clearly I learned from someone else. So from all those comments, now clearly I learned that from someone else. So from all those comments and people are doing that or whatever, clearly somebody's lying here because there's no way I learned that from somebody else. Somebody learned that from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And from the amount of people who were just commenting and quoting on that, it was just like, y'all knew about it. You know damn well. Like somebody's lying here that they never did it before. But because it's on the internet and because majority of the people were like, oh my gosh, why do people do that? And shaming it and criticizing it. Now it's like, well, let me join in to pretty much maybe I have to say something because this is a part of my profession and whatever. It makes you seem cool. I don't know. I don't know. But somebody lying. Okay. It also made me upset because the amount of professionals that I have emailed or pitched to before and they barely read their goddamn emails, or a lot of these professionals, when they are talking about, oh man, I have like a whole day of work and all these different things, y'all don't read your emails. And if you do read your emails, a lot of y'all are very much so want everything spoon fed. I cannot tell you how many times I've pitched to somebody and they respond back. Like I literally would put all the details in the first email and they would literally respond back and say, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. Can you give me some more details on this? And I have to pretty much regurgitate what I just said in the first email. And that lets me know that you did not read the full email. And I am not a big advocate for long ass novel emails either. I would break things down, maybe add some pictures or something in it just to make it more easy for people to read. And it's still like that. So a lot of y'all barely want to read y'all emails. And actually, from my old boss, I've seen his emails and it's actually super crazy. Like, so some people I definitely understand. But there are a lot of people who I actually have pitched to, and I'm like, bruh, I know you saw my email. You just either saw it and was like, I'll get back to it later and just never did, or you just hated my pitch, to be honest. You hated my pitch and thought it was wacky. He was like, I'm not doing this shit. So you just didn't respond. But hey, either way, I definitely feel for those people who have to pitch to other professionals or other influencers and their managers quite often because It's horrible. It is horrible. And also, we are in this whole panorama, okay? You're on your laptop, you are on your phone 24/7. You know you saw my email. You know you saw it. Stop playing with me, okay? I'm getting mad right now because it's like I feel for those people. So y'all grown as hell and y'all are on this internet preaching on social media, really ridiculing others. No way. No way. So I started thinking for that guy who had tweeted that, I'm like, okay, what if an intern, what if that was an intern that emailed you, right? And their higher upper person told them to go ahead and email in that type of way? What if RE to them didn't mean like they didn't mean to make it seem like you guys have been in a conversation already? It meant something else. You, instead of you responding to them in this manner, like let's say you could have responded, hold on, y'all. I'm trying to find how this person could have responded better. You could have simply said, hey, thank you so much for your email, blah, 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 blah. You know, I agree with this and that. Hey, also, I know that writing RE, in the subject line does get a few attention and it did make me open it, but for future reference, it's actually not the correct way to pitch. And I know a few colleagues who will actually delete your email instead of responding. So next time, just keep following up regularly, blah, 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 instead. And I promise I will get back to you. Thank you again. Boom. Not only did you let that person know, look, I actually know professionals that ain't gonna fuck with that, but also I'm helping you out. And also I'm going to actually respond to your email and still respect you and give you grace and give you that empathy that so many other professionals speak about. And it's just like when I saw so many other higher up professionals criticize that person, I just know off rip, whoever emailed him obviously follows him or know his social media. So that person probably is like cringing right now and don't even want to show their face on the internet or nothing like that. Or maybe they have no shame in the game and they're just like, whatever, nigga. But for me personally, if I went through that and I saw the person that I pitched to on their social media talking shit about how I pitched to them, I would feel totally like, yes, I'm going to want to go back and not do it again because I don't want to be criticized on all of social media. But I'm also going to feel like, damn, I can't even make this mistake again because now he's probably going to go ahead and share who it was, that it was me who went ahead and did that. And now I'm completely ruined. I'm a very much so dramatic person, guys. So I went from point A to point Z. It probably never even went that far. But that tweet was going a little ways, and I felt like there was way too many professionals who don't even have their shit in order. Like I said, there's a method to their own fucking madness. And they had the audacity to come on the internet and make it seem like, oh my gosh, what? That's so crazy. And crucify somebody on that. I feel like when you have more of those crucifixions going on, that again is an example of what I had said earlier of people feel like you have to have the right answer about everything. About everything this whole time. You have to be an expert about something, and nobody really wants to show them making that mistake. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, like I said before, I did that before. I've put RE in a subject line to make it seem like we have been in conversation before because you know what? I want you to open up that goddamn email. I don't do it now because I just feel like my pitches have improved and I have been getting great response track records. And even if I don't get great responses or a response track record or whatever, learning how to just follow up even more and more frequently and feeling more comfortable bothering people because you're gonna see my email today, tomorrow, the next day after that. um it's still it's still a process about, because that guy, he wasn't perfect when he first got into his industry either. When he first came in, he had to have somebody tell him, no, this isn't how you do it. Or at least, like, like a slap on the wrist, like, okay, you should not have done that. You've learned. And maybe before the internet was even a fucking thing. So you had the gracious way of not having to get your shit exploited in front of millions of people on the internet to see. Just saying, not a lot of people have the courtesy that they speak of that you should have in professionalism. And it sucks. But the more transparency that we are feeling comfortable to share without being embarrassed, without being criticized or ridiculed, um, the better our younger adults, the other generations before us, after us, after us feel more comfortable showing their mistakes. And it goes as far as it can go as far as your body. It's a lot of surgery. I know this can kind of be off topic, but there's a lot of women who's getting surgery, right? And there's a lot of also younger girls who like, I want a bigger ass, I want bigger boobs, I want bigger lips, and I want higher cheekbones and all these different things that they see on the internet because it seems so perfect, right? But in actuality, her body might look perfect, his body might look perfect, but they actually lame as hell. This is the same thing. This is the same thing. That person might have the most cutest aesthetic on Instagram. I mean, down to the motherfucking Instagram highlights. Okay. They have a strict, consistent schedule on how they post things, and it comes out so perfect, right? They give tips all the time. They get 100,000 of views on their shit. But you don't know that behind the scenes, they are actually have somebody else maybe telling them what to do, right? You don't know behind the scenes, they are actually probably depressed. They actually don't want to do this. This is not actually what they want to do. But because it gives them that income, they do it. That Jax dude, whatever his name is, Jackson, whatever, he was a relationship guru and his shit went viral. A lot of women went to him to get advice on what they should do in their relationships or in their single life. And turns out, dude was a huge cheater on his wife, had multiple women just out there. And he wasn't transparent about what was going on until he got caught up. That's how it is. That's pretty much how 2020 and 2021 so far has been. Like a lot of these professionals and gurus have been getting caught up. And I think you can save yourself from getting caught up by actually being real. You don't even have to show everything or tell everything into detail, but I feel like there's way too many millennials, creative millennials as well, like me, who have multiple questions about, especially like the business and the industry. How much should I get paid? What is my worth? How should I charge people? How long should I be an intern? Should I be getting paid as an intern? Should I be even doing this as an intern? What are my roles underneath these specific titles? Like, there are so many questions that a lot of these professionals do not tell you about. They're not transparent because they want to get something out of you, the most out of you, to boost up their businesses and stuff like that in order to get the best out of it. And then later on, you're just fucking bamboozled and you've been used and you've been through so many fucking scams. It's ridiculous out here. It's ridiculous. And it's crazy how it actually happens a lot amongst our Black young creatives in different industries. My next podcast episode, I think I want to record interview. I want to interview a professional, and I think I want to go ahead and talk about mentors because I specifically do not have a stable, consistent mentor, but I do have people that I know I can go to ask questions when needed and for specific things to get guidance on certain specific things that I know that they are good at. So I would like to go talk about that because I feel like there's how would I say this? Not a tradition, but environment or whatever of this thing called mentors, that also that I saw in college too, with these whole mentors that wasn't really mentors. How do I find a good mentor that's consistent and stable? How do I even upkeep with a mentor? Because obviously a mentor is somebody who is in a place that you wish that you want to be, that you aspire to be at. So they're pretty productive, they're pretty busy. So how can you upkeep a mentor on your own end? And also, how can mentors find creative millennials or just a creative person in need that actually is grateful and who actually deserves it? Because although I do cater to my creative millennials, a lot of y'all got to be real with yourselves too. You got to be open to wanting to learn. You got to be open to actually being the student, but being humble and also not taking advantage of your mentor or the person who's actually giving you a great opportunity. Example of that, a perfect example of that is what happened with DJ Mustard and his stylist or whatever, or his fashion buyer, clothes buyer, whatever. He went ahead and gave her a chance to go ahead and pay for, buy clothes for him and blah, blah, blah. And he actually said that he was overpaying her and actually, gave her other clients. DJ Mustard, if you guys, everybody know DJ Mustard. Like, I don't got to say who it is, but DJ Mustard, you know that he knows. I'm pretty sure that his track record of the amount, I'm pretty sure you know what the contacts in his phones are endless. Okay. He knows the peoples. I know he do. And so for her to actually steal money from him is ridiculous. For her to go ahead and buy, and y'all, the clothes that she was wearing was not even popping. Like, it was a bunch of name brand shit that was put together that just looked like she got dressed in the fucking dark. So for her to even steal money from him, buy her clothes, run up the check on it and stuff like that, and then expect him to just not tell nobody, like, absolutely not. He gave her a chance, and that probably would ruin a chance for another stylist who actually deserves it, for him to even trust that person now, because he opened up, and actually overpaid this person, and she took advantage of that. So I think there's also a lot of creatives and other people coming up that like to take advantage and would love to take advantage of people that they aspire to be in the position of. So we need to just get it right and get it right. Okay. But I'm going to end the podcast here, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. If you loved it, go ahead, like, share, subscribe if you may, comment. And go ahead and also follow Liquid Era. That's liquid, how it's spelled. You already know how to spell liquid _era, ERA, on Instagram. If you want to follow me personally, your host, D Brady, you go ahead and follow me. Your girl is, I think my IG is _D Brady. I never know what the heck, bro. Yes, it's _D Brady. So _DEEBRADY. And like I said, y'all, I am helping to guide my creative millennials, my cool creatives on their perspective industry, giving you guys the tips and advice, the transparency on what you should know, giving the flowers to my underdogs, quote unquote underdogs in the industry, and also showing my personal growth as I go through as being a creative brand strategist, also doing brand partnerships, y'all. Y'all, I was talking to my homegirl Nadia. If you haven't heard her on a previous podcast of mine, Nadia, um, she actually opened up my eyes to maybe possibly doing brand partnerships for events. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my shot on, doing brand partnerships for events. And I'm actually gonna record that process of me putting my shit together and actually doing that, and show y'all my growth. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to, like, maybe a few months down the line, or maybe like next year, I listen back to this episode and see how far I've reached. Or maybe if I changed anything. I don't know, y'all. I'm growing. Okay. Period. And I'm not going to second guess myself, I'm going to put it out there. So, yeah, go ahead and follow me on there. If you guys have any questions, if you want to actually book a consultation with me, you can email me. I actually changed my email because last episode I said a different email, but I want you guys to actually email liquidera6@gmail.com. It's liquidera, the number 6 at gmail.com. Go ahead and email your questions, comments, concerns, whatever. If you want to book a consultation with me, you can go ahead and email me from there as well about your branding. Just talking about how, if you want to get into marketing, if you want to get into the music industry, however, whatever you want to do, fashion, whatever, I'm here for you. I got you. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, and we out.